Do you want to stop wasting time in golf practice so you can actually get better and lower your handicap? If so, you need to follow these 5 decade golf rules that will help you practice like a pro. Today, I'm going to help you simplify golf practice so you can actually get better and not waste time and money on the range. Stick around to the end too, as the final tip will actually help you take your range game to the golf course. It's also the one thing that most everyday amateur golfers don't do and is killing your chances of playing your best golf. Now, before getting into the tips, what is Decade Golf? It is a course management system created by Scott Fawcett and used by some of the top players in the world, including Bryson DeChambeau, Will Zalatoris, and countless others. The good news is you don't have to swing like those guys to think like them. It helps you make better decisions on the golf course. One of the best Decade Golf practice tips that I've ever learned is to simply go out and play one shot shape on repeat. You do not need to learn how to hit fades and draws, high and low shots. One stock shot is what 99.9% of golfers need and should use on every single hole. Even if the hole doglegs left or right, we want one stock shot so you can have confidence on the tee box. I've had the creator Scott Fawcett on the podcast twice, and here is a short clip where he talks about why it's so important to have one stock shot.
Once you understand, and again, I don't care if it's a cut or a draw, but with the driver specifically, just doing one thing, it's just such a hard club to, it's the longest club, being swung the fastest with the flattest face in the bag, the least amount of loft. It's just a really hard club to barely change the face to path relationship successfully. And again, the biggest problem is the fact that double crosses are just always off the planet. So I cut 100% of my tee shots. And if I get up somewhere now and I'm going to try to hit a draw with the driver, my miss is going to typically be at least a third of the time a block cut. So now I've aimed it further right and I've block cut it. It's just off the planet. And so while yes, I get it, it'd be cool to hit a draw on this hole, I just am going to double cross it far too often. It's just not the play. And if the hole has trees or a crossing hazard or whatever that makes the hole not favor a fade, then I just need to change clubs rather than try to hit the shape the different direction. I mean, and the key to why I keep saying with the driver specifically, again, I am a big proponent of just doing one thing with the irons, but also what you're technically doing when you change shot shape is you're altering the face and path relationship. Well, with the driver, because you can't really alter ball position, you only have one way to change the face to path relationship, and that's literally by changing your swing. Mm-hmm. So you're by definition, again, as Claude says, we worked on making Brooks' swing as repeatable and one-dimensional as possible. With the driver, you literally only have one way of shaping it both ways, and that's by changing your swing, and that's just a bad idea.
The second Decade Golf practice tip is to spend more time in block practice versus variable practice. Scott also elaborated more about this concept in our second interview, and here's a short clip to understand why block practice is the key to improving your game and lowering your handicap.
Block practice means just hitting the same shot at the same target over and over and over again. I witness guys on the PGA Tour every single week. They've got their TrackMan set up. They've got their quad set up. By definition, they're not changing their target. You won't see a guy on the range at a PGA Tour event without his launch monitor anymore. And so by definition, they are not changing their target. Now let's go to the putting green. Every single one of them has a putting mirror, a line over their start lines, a chalk line, some sort of a contraption into their chest. No one's just out there rolling putts. They've all got their block practice stations. And so this is where I feel like it's a bit intellectually dishonest for the instructors to say you have to randomize your practice while sitting behind the guys on the PGA Tour who are 100% not doing that. I mean, again, the key to all of this is I don't disagree if you change your targets a bunch, you're probably going to slow down and pay more attention. I don't disagree with that. But that's not exclusive to random practice. You can slow down with block practice. It just takes effort. It takes understanding the point of slowing down. That's the key, in my opinion.
The third Decade Golf practice tip is to make sure we are practicing putting with purpose. Don't just go to the putting green and hit some random putts and think that you're actually going to get better. We need some drills and systems. That way we're actually improving every single time we practice. Decade Golf app makes this so easy with their simulated putting. As you can see here, it makes it very easy to set up a drill where you can have 18 holes where you're going through your full routine, you're hitting putts of all different distances that you might face on the course, and then you track those in the app, and then it provides a strokes gained analysis. This is an amazing way to practice and really see if your putting is getting better or maybe needs some more work. This app makes it easy to practice with purpose so you never waste a moment on the putting green again. I do the simulated putting drill all the time, and I love how easy it is to actually measure my putting practice and make sure I'm trending up or know if I need to spend more time in the next rule. So the fourth decade golf practice rule is some block practice with your putting as well. Scott just talked about the importance of block practice on the driving range in our second point, but it's also very important with our putter as well. Why? Because we have to make sure we're setting up to the golf ball consistently time and time again. Changing one or two little things in your putting setup can make the world of difference of actually hitting the sweet spot and making sure you get the ball rolling properly. But if you maybe set up sometimes with it too far back in your stance, or your eyes are too far over the ball or too far under the ball, it can really make things difficult to hit solid putts. And one of the reasons probably why so many amateur golfers three-putt way more often than they should. That's why block practice with your putter is key. You want to do this at home with an indoor putting green, or you can do it at the golf course and set up a station to make sure you're getting in the same setup position time and time again. The more you can do this in practice, the more you're going to set up to the golf ball the same when you're on the course and hopefully hit a lot better putts. So use some different training aids, especially a putting mirror, to make sure you're getting in the same setup position. Again, ball position, eye position. Use a putting mirror, maybe a chalk line or some other training aids to ensure you're getting in the same setup position every single time. The more you do this in practice, the easier it'll translate to the course, and hopefully the better you're going to start putting. Final decade golf practice tip is something that I've been doing for years, and I can't recommend it enough. It's also something that I said most golfers are not doing, and that's actually practicing your pre-shot routine. If you watch the best golfers in the world, you will notice they all have a set of rituals behind the golf ball where they walk into the shot. They maybe give it a couple looks, a waggle. Everyone has different routines, but they all have some sort of routine. This helps them mentally and physically prepare for the shot. However, amateur golfers have no routine in most cases, or it's so different from swing to swing, you can't even call it a routine. So you want to actually incorporate your pre-shot routine in practice, so that way you do it time and time again, and then when you go to the golf course, it's just going to be habit. Because a good routine will prepare your mind, your body, you're going to have the right practice swings, you're going to commit to the club, commit to the target. There's endless benefits of routines, and it will help you walk into the shot with confidence. I hear a lot of golfers say, hey, I'm really good on the range, but I'm terrible on the course. Why am I so much better on the range? Why doesn't it translate to the course? The reason is a lack of a good pre-shot routine. So you want to make sure that you dial in your routine in practice, you have the right habits over and over again, and then once again, just like block practice, when you get to the course, it should translate, so that way you have a lot more confidence on every single shot. Scott elaborates a ton about this concept inside the Decade Golf app as well, and actually shows frames of Tiger Woods when he sticks to his routine, how he hits some of his best shots, and when he doesn't stick to his routine, hits some of his worst shots. So please practice your routines on the range or even on the putting green, so that way when you go to the course, you know exactly what to do. You're not lingering over the golf ball, you're not doubting yourself, and you're 100% committed to the shot you want to hit. To learn more about Decade Golf, make sure to watch these two videos next, or click the links down in the show notes for the full interviews with Scott Fawcett, the creator.